Marlins baseball is always on Fox Sports 940.
Back and better than ever on a Tuesday from your home for Miami Marlins baseball. Fox Sports 940 Miami, the iHeartRadio app. Good to be back with you on a Tuesday. It is November 28th. Thanksgiving is come and gone. The holiday season is here. Christmas, Hanukkah, right around the corner. I'm Kyle Seeloff. Joining me, as always, is Steven Strom. Steven, it's great to see you. And we'll start with Monday Night Football last night. We did this last week on your home for Miami Dolphins football, Fox Sports 940. We'll start with the Vikings loss last night to the Chicago Bears. Go ahead. The floor is yours, Steven.
No, I'm all right, fine. I'll be really quick.
No, we don't need to do that. I just really want to know.
I don't want to talk about it.
No,
well,
I
called
win.
You last night.
Right.
What did I called you last night, and you said I sounded nervous.
Yeah.
I said, if we don't turn the ball over, we'll win this game. What do? They turn it over
See, you're
4
doing
times.
it again. You're trying to start your radio show.
Nope,
Steven and I
okay.
needed to have a business conversation last night, and we were about to hang up, and I said, hey, good luck tonight. And as soon as I said that, I said, oh, no, because it opened the door, because Steven's a walking radio show. He's ready to just fire off takes.
You said I had 30 seconds.
Right, and here we go. I like this. Hear that? Huh?
Are we going to make our picks? Oh, my God, Ricardo.
Oh, goodness gracious. Ricardo
best.
Wanche, our producer here at Fox Sports 940 up here in Pembroke Pines tonight. All right, so when they win, we'll certainly do Vikings talk, NFC North talk on
on the bye week next week,
right,
folks.
So that's a win.
You're another
anyway, all right, we're moving on because nobody really cares. What we do care about potentially is your Thanksgiving. How much did you lend a helping hand in this year's festivities?
None.
That's good
proudly
stuff,
none.
Congratulations.
I did. The only thing I helped out with was the Christmas tree. I brought in the Christmas tree, but nothing. We went to my cousin Jolie's house in North Jersey. She did a tremendous job. The only thing I did was actually drive. I drove the minivan, drove my grandmother, my mother, my
didn't
two
kill her.
sisters.
That's good. You didn't put it in a ditch.
Girlfriend.
That's good.
Yeah. So the only thing and the only responsibility I had was to drive, and I did that and got the people there safe, and we had a great Thanksgiving.
Most underrated and most overrated Thanksgiving dish. Quickly.
Turkey, without a question. I don't like turkey at all. I think it's very over. I think we push it. I think you got to normalize actually steak, because
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I think steak would be the substitute for turkey.
How about a ham? A lot of people go with a ham.
Yeah, there was ham too, but I'm not a turkey guy. We went over this. I'm not a turkey guy.
You're not an animal guy either, but I don't want to bring that up again.
As far as having like a I was going to say a bird because it says bird dog there.
Yeah.
Like having a dog. No, I've never had an animal. Right. Don't want one. Not getting one.
And you've also recently been put on a watch list for not liking animals. So please be advised, folks.
Fair enough.
My Thanksgiving was good. Thank you. Just hung out. Just kind of did my thing. Watch football, which is always fun. Thanksgiving to me, best holiday of the year.
Did you wear those like big sweatpants and the hoodie like you tweeted out?
Yes, sir. Everything had a little give to them last Thursday. Everything stretched. Everything had a little cushion. And I'll tell you what, the best thing after you have a full-blown Thanksgiving is not only like the leftovers later. This one you think, I'm gonna, people are gonna think a little
that 9 p.m. leftovers.
Right, boy, he's got he really takes care of himself. He had one plate, everything was green, had some greens on there, and then you go lay on the recliner after a little pie. You got to make sure the recliner goes all the way back, or you just feel a little scrunched up
with some neck support.
Right, and then everybody else goes outside. Everybody kind of hangs out, and that's when you sneak to the kitchen for plate number 2 about 9:30 after you responsibly and for entertainment purposes only started to lose a little bit in football.
It's like pitch sequencing. You got to sequence the way that you end up getting your next Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah, you exhibit a little self-control with the entire family, and then once 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, you're in the 7th or 8th inning. It's time to blow it out and let it loose.
It's a great analogy.
Right. You just, undo those sweatpants a little bit if you had them tied, and it's absolutely go time after like that 3 o'clock early meal. So really, we hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the Miami Marlins Hot Stove Show. We have done some NFC North talk. We've done Thanksgiving talk. We're also tonight, we're going to do a little Miami Marlins baseball talk, believe it or not. That is our sole purpose of coming up here, and they're crazy enough to keep letting us do this on the air every Tuesday, and we'll continue to do it until they tell us not to. But really good conversation coming up tonight. Looking forward. We're going to call, almost said Braxton Garrett. We had him on last week.
Another southpaw.
Jesus Luzardo is going to join us here in segment number 2 coming up in about 10 minutes or so. And we're going to have a little fun in segment 3 as well. We've got the keys to the car now, baby. We're really good. We're really good at spending other people's money. We're probably going to go over budget. Peter Bendix, look out, brother, because Steven and I are building this team for 2024. We're spending everybody's money tonight. But really, we kind of want to now look, don't take what we're saying as the gospel here, but we took a look at the roster. Steven and I have not really conversed about it. We're going to add some guys.
I tried to this
some fun.
morning before our meeting, and you were like, "Shut up, Steven! Don't give me
I don't
these
want
names."
to. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And again, we're having fun. We're not really trading guys.
No.
But hey, we're looking at the free agent
We're in our
wire.
own fantasy land over here.
Right. So
trying to wheel and deal trades and free agents.
So Steven's got Shohei starting on opening day. So he's got the Shohei. But we're gonna have a little fun with that. We'll see who we can add to this thing. We won't be subtracting anybody. We might start some guys in AAA. But so that's that. What's crazy though, dude, is looking at it. It's fun doing this every Tuesday. It's also really fun when there's some news. And God, since we last chatted last week, Steven, it's been pretty quiet over the holidays.
I know.
Winter meetings coming up. The stove is starting.
You're going?
I'm going to go up there. I'm going to cover it for Marlins, for the Marlins social channels. I'm going to try to take people behind the curtain a little bit. Only so much you can do because there is a lot of meetings and stuff. The winter meetings is actually a crazy place. It's turned into more of a media event over the years. It used to be that was the place, but now with cell phones, everybody's texting GMs. They can make
and
deals.
You can just tweet it, and then you're covering it. You're covering an event, quote unquote.
Yeah. So we're going to go up there. We're going to have a little fun, but not a whole lot has happened since we last did this last week, but it still feels like, the Marlins, I feel like they're going to be active. Peter Bendix is just the most interesting man in the world to me right now. I know we've talked about him a little bit over the course of the last couple of weeks, and we had an opportunity to chat with him.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to do, and he's probably still drinking out of a fire hose here. It's going to be a while before he can get the garden hose out and he doesn't suffocate and just swallow gallons of water at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's an interesting offseason, of course, with him coming in. The Marlins just made the playoffs. But I actually, and we'll get into our segment 3 where we're going to talk about free agent signings and who we think they should bring in. But I think it's really important to look at the history. And I know he was second in command with the Tampa Bay Rays, but some of the bigger splashes that they made in free agency that stuck out was first Zach Eflin, who they brought in, which was an uncharacteristic move just to throw that money towards a pitcher. And then the other one was Charlie Morton. So the seeds, I guess, or the trail is if the Marlins were to go out and sign a free agent, you have to look at the history of the general manager or the guy that was in command before, and it really was pitching heavy. Now, do the Marlins do that? I don't know. There's obviously a ton of free agents out there. I know we have alluded to the shortstop position and the catcher position. That is a need. They got Brujan I think it was a week and a half ago. It was actually during our wonderful event on Friday with the Thanksgiving event.
Yeah.
But I think it's important when we start flying around and making these takes on who we think the Marlins are going to bring in, you have to look at the track record of the person in charge. And for Peter Bendix and his team with the Tampa Bay Rays, it was Charlie Morton and Zach Eflin.
It was guys like that. Again, we've talked about this. What to me is going to be fascinating to watch is that, number one, this is going to take time. But just because something takes time does not mean they're going to sacrifice being competitive on the field. Because to me, they're not going to stand for that after coming off a season in which they went to the postseason, first time full season, 20 years. The guy at the top step of the dugout, Skip Schumacher, is not just going to sit back and say, hey, we win all these games last year. We go to the postseason, 2 in a barbecue, but hey, we're good. Let's rebuild. It's not going to be a rebuild. They're going to be competitive. But what fascinates me, and again, I know we continue to talk about this, is Peter Bendix's track record of how to operate a successful baseball business. It was at the right time, trading guys at the top of their game.
Tough decisions,
for
too.
3 or 4 top-end prospects, putting them in a system, developing them into big leaguers, and trading them after 4.5 years, right? Like, it's not going to be this year. But what is interesting to me and what's going to be fascinating for me is, does he swing a deal this offseason? Do you see a more high-profile Marlins name get traded in the coming months? Or does he start, trading some other guys and you start to see kind of the seeds of the Rays' ways like, ooh, didn't expect that.
Right, but then you look back again. That's why the track record's so important. That's why I went back and looked at some of the Tampa Bay Rays free agent signings because they're known for just developing and drafting and then swinging these trades. But you have to look at the history, and for Peter Bendix, we don't have a ton because, again, he was in second management. I'm sure he had a bunch of say in all these decisions. But, it's definitely intriguing on what he's going to take from Tampa and then maybe some of the stuff that he wanted to do in Tampa that he wasn't able to do.
Yeah, we'll see how much flexibility he has. I think the one thing that people should be reassured by, and I'm not doing this tonight to reassure people they're going to be competitive next year, but they flat out said, and he flat out said, I'm not looking to break down this team from last year.
It's a regroup, not a rebuild.
Right, and just do things my way.
I have a take after you're done.
Well, no, the floor is yours.
No, I think my thing is this. If you have pitching, you are going to be in every single game.
And
the Marlins
do they have enough
pitching.
pitching?
Right now, do they have enough pitching? No, they don't have enough pitching. But do they have a really solid core that I can name with the guy we're having on next segment, Jesus Luzardo, probably being your opening day starter, Braxton Garrett, Edward Cabrera, who hopefully has worked on his command. And then following that, you've got some interesting pieces. I tweeted out yesterday a guy like Ryan Weathers. Who knows what he can be? I know he struggled last year, but that final start in Pittsburgh, he was really good. You also have Trevor Rogers who's going to come back, Max Meyer. I haven't even seen Max Meyer yet. I'm excited about him. The Marlins have pitching.
Yeah.
And they've got decent enough bats in the lineup that they're going to be able to compete. That's all I'm going to say. Now, listen, injuries happen, but I think this idea that people are going to look at the Marlins and be like, oh, one-hit wonder, other teams struggled. The Mets, yes, sure, the Mets struggled. Yeah, sure, there were some disappointing teams. The Padres struggled. But the Marlins have something that a lot of people and teams search for, and that is young, controllable pitching. And the Marlins have that, and that's why I think no matter what happens next year, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be in the thick of things.
They have young, controllable starting pitching that everybody's going to want and people covet. So that's what intrigues me about Peter Bendix, man. I am just so excited to see what he does moving forward. I don't really want to do this right now, but I will say a couple of names. You mentioned Ryan Weathers. I'll throw Brian Hoeing out there, and I'll throw Max Meyer out there. Those are all three guys that could start for this team next season. I could also see those three guys starting the year in AAA if you roll out a healthy Jesus Luzardo, Yuri Perez, Braxton Garrett, Edward Cabrera, and
How did
Rogers.
I leave out Yuri? Oh, my God. How did you let me leave out Yuri? I go Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, Jesus
you know what?
And George Soriano, too, is another guy you got to look out, Kyle. I love Soriano.
Well, the question is he a bullpen guy? Is he a starting pitcher? Can you develop him as a starting pitcher?
He opened a couple of times.
If you're going to develop him, he's probably going to start the season in AAA. You know, if you look at it like that, I always say you need about 10 to 12 starting pitchers a year. Sure. 12 is probably a little too much. You probably were decimated with injuries, but you need 10 guys. And if you take Luzardo, Perez, Garrett, Cabrera, Rogers, that's 5. Okay, and then you add
Weathers,
Hoeing, Meyer, and Weathers.
Yep.
You're up to 8.
And then if you want to add a guy like Soriano in that mix, you can.
You could try to develop that. Now, there are other guys that I'm sure they think highly of. So there is a little bit of depth. Now, can you trust all of that depth moving forward? I know we started to go off the rails, but it's just a fun conversation to have. We could do hours on in the pitching. Would you entertain trading a Sandy Alcantara this July to a team, even though he's on the shelf? Would somebody bite on that? I'm throwing crazy things out there. And again, we talk about like what the Rays have done over the years. They have done unconventional things to better their organization
for the future.
Right. So
those are such time. We'll break after this, but those are just such hard things to do. And I'm not. We're just throwing out names just as example. We
it's
have no
fun
idea.
to chat.
But like the Jazzes, the Lisa Rises, the guys that right now you look at them and they're like, this is a guy that's going to be in the Marlins' future for years to come. They're great players, but sometimes those decisions end up leading to an enormous amount of success for the future because. Again, the Rays have been known to sell high as soon as they get to their peak and contract negotiation.
They always sell at the right time, man. They always sell at the right time.
Give me back 3 prospects.
They get the most value. They always got the most value for
Chris
everybody.
Archer trade.
Yeah, Archer. I mean, there's so many over the years. It's crazy. It's fun to talk about because I think it's a little taste of what's to come in the coming years. And we'll see what this offseason brings, and we'll see how Peter Bendix and his team really kind of structure this thing moving forward. And one quick note, because I'm going to go to break in about 30 seconds. There was some news today that the Marlins and Peter Bendix have added to the front office, and I don't want to butcher this. I'm going to try. But the Marlins' new director of baseball operations is Vinesh Kanthan. He is coming from the Texas Rangers organization that just won a World Series. If I understand from what I've read correctly, he'll work underneath the general managers, the assistant GMs with the Marlins, and obviously reporting to Peter Bendix. But this is a guy that just came from an organization that just won a World Series, and he also has a picture out there. He's a big pickleball guy. He's got these sunglasses on and slick back hair. And let me tell you, boy, I am all in. So let's take our first break here on the Marlins Hot Stove Show.